Mary, here is one of the best hosta beds that I have. I have others, but this one happens to be the perfect location. It's filtered, dapple, shade, and it's perfect. I think I started this one about 10 years ago when we moved here. And over time, I moved plants around, and I would say that it's pretty much done. As you can see, we have taller cultivars in the back, especially the vase shape upright, like the Montana, shorter, more mound shape in the front, like Fire Island. But as you can see here, you can see all the colors we mentioned. We mentioned solid green, solid blue, gold, yellow. Oh no, we don't have white. So if we look here, this one is August moon, and it's considered to be in the class or the group of yellows and golds. The thing with yellows and golds, the more sun they get, especially morning sun, the brighter they will be, the more gold, more yellow. So if you have one like August moon in full shade, it will tend to be more green. Same with the big one over there, the salmon substance, very common, very popular. That is also considered to be in the gold and yellow group. Those two, those are blue. And we also have solid green, and is on the other side of the bed, and is a new one that I planted last year, and it's called Sugar Snap, and it's solid green.
How do you know, with all of these available, how do you know which ones you should try?
You hear from Master Gardens which one they like. You also can go to the American Hosta Society. They have the Hosta of the Year. They have a list. So to be nominated as a Hosta of the Year, you have to assume that it's a good cultivar to try.
So how do you know which hostas to use in which situation?
Usually, if you're talking about amount of sunlight, the green ones are better for sunnier location. The blue ones will benefit from shade, and also the blue ones, try to have them in an area that is away from traffic, because the way they get the blue color, there is a waxy coating that if you remove that, it's gone for the season. I learned that the hard way. At the other house, I used to have a really big blue hosta right next to my rain barrel. So then all of a sudden I'm thinking, what is going on with the hosta? It's like half of the hosta is green. Well, it was me walking by the hosta and rubbing against the hosta to get water from the rain barrel that I was removing the waxy coating that it was giving the hosta the blue color. Now here is at the edge, but we don't walk by the hosta, so it's fine. But if you have a tight walkway where you're going to be rubbing against the hosta, don't plant a blue one.
So what varieties can you put, or what should you look for as a border plant?
Probably you want shorter plants, not too tall, and the ones that grow more like a mound shape rather than vase. One really good example, golden tiara, and I have a row of them going to next to steps going down to the lake.
How about a ground cover? What kind should you get for that?
Actually, golden tiara is an option too. Twist of lime is another one because it's very short. It spreads, the clump spreads. So obviously you will have to plant more than one plant in the location. But if you have, let's say 5, 7, then eventually with time you can have an area covered with just hostas.
Are there some varieties that have a fragrant flower?
Yes, and it's funny that you ask because sometimes the name of the hosta will give you a hint. So I have a hosta called Fragrant Bouquet. So guess what? Yes, the flowers tend to be more aromatic than other hostas.
That was another source of discussion at our garden club is should you leave the blooms on the hostas or should you clip them off?
I would say it's a personal preference. It's whatever you prefer. I prefer to cut them, and I know some people will be like, oh, but the hummingbirds love them, and that's okay. I have plenty of other flowers for hummingbirds, but especially some hostas, the flowers are really pretty, like blue most years. The flowers stay short, they're bright purple. I mean, they're pretty. Some hosta flowers are not so pretty, so as soon as they start blooming, I cut them down.
Do hostas form seeds?
Yes. And I haven't done it myself, but I know master gardeners that they collect seeds, they plant them. You remember that dormant period that we said that hosta needs? So hosta seeds, they need that stratification period. So what she did is she can either put it in the fridge over the winter, or she put them in an unheated garage over winter. Now the thing with starting seeds from hostas from seeds is there's not a guarantee that the baby plants will look like the mom. So the variegation can be different. And what she did, and she did a lot of hostas from seeds, she said about 95% of the seedlings will be solid green, even if the hosta where they came from had a variegation. So maybe out of 100, 5 will look like the mother plant. So there's nothing wrong with it. You're propagating hostas from seeds. It's just that if you were looking for that variegation, if you were looking for something to look like June or striptease or any of those, chances are you're going to end up with green hostas.
So when the breeders make a new hosta, is it by seed or how else?
Seeds is time consuming. It's a time consuming process. So what they do is tissue culture. So they develop spores by taking tissue from a hosta that looks a little different, and they do tissue culture. So in the lab with big setup, they produce a lot of plants, and that's how they start new plants. Like for example, in these flower beds, we have striptease and we have gypsy rose. Well, gypsy rose is a sport, a striptease. So at one point, a hybridizer noticed that striptease maybe had a leaf that was a little different, and they took that portion of the plant, they did tissue culture, they developed a new plant, they gave it a name, gypsy rose, they applied for a patent, and for 20 years they collect, revenues from that plant that they developed. But it's from a small genetic mutation from a plant.
Can you use hostas in containers?
Yes, and I've done it in a few years. This year I didn't do that, but you can. You just want to make sure that it's a deep enough container, not too shallow, at least 5-6 inches deep. And at the end of the growing season, if you want to save the plant, you can either take it out of the container and put it in the garden, plant it, or you can bury the entire pot in the garden. But chances are, because of our winters, there's no guarantee that the plant will survive if you leave it in the pot.